Come on in. Welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about 5 times Survivor challenges broke or malfunctioned. Okay, calm down, Amanda fans. We're not talking about wardrobe malfunctions during challenges. Rather, we're talking about times the challenge itself failed, broke, or otherwise did not work as intended. This isn't players who broke challenges. This is challenges that broke themselves, whether it be a design malfunction, construction failure, or even unsolvable puzzle. I'm not trying to throw shade at Survivor here. The challenge department is the best in all of competitive reality TV. And Survivor is a tight ship where things rarely break. But even the best challenge team in the world sometimes cranks out a stinker. Which Survivor challenges completely malfunctioned? Let's find out as we dig into Survivor's handful of defective challenges. At number 5 is the Final 5 Immunity Challenge in Survivor Pearl Islands, where part of Lil's station at this crucial challenge did not work. In this challenge, the Final 5 must walk the plank, thematically fitting for the pirate-themed season. There are 5 sequential planks, the keys to unlock them attached to a buoy at the bottom of a narrow tube. The players must fill water into the tube to grab the key, unlock and lower their plank, and move on to the next station. This was the rare Survivor challenge that benefited Lil. It's like this and a pouting contest. As a woman with smaller wrists, she did not have to fill her tube very high to grab the key, and she's in the money for the first part of the challenge. But when dropping her third plank, it just doesn't work. It seemingly gets stuck on the piece of wood at the next station when it should very smoothly drop down. This should not be the hard part of the challenge. The challenge department is not getting their merit badge on this one. Lil ultimately does get her plank to lower, but it doesn't matter. While she was probably not gonna win anyway, the challenge favored Dara's smaller frame and she was already on an immunity streak. This stopped any chance the Scoutmaster had of winning immunity this round. To me, although they didn't stop the challenge, there very clearly was something wrong with Lil's station. No one else struggles with lowering the planks at all. And I mean, you could just argue that this is just Lil being Lil, but in her defense, walking the third metaphorical plank was the one thing she was actually good at in this game.
Third person voted out of the Morgan tribe. Lil.
At number 4 is a puzzle from the Final 9 Immunity Challenge of Survivor David vs. Goliath, which had an alternate solution to the puzzle unforeseen by production and which weirdly did not count. The final portion of this immunity challenge is to solve an 11-letter word puzzle with multi-sided lettered block pieces collected earlier. The solution? Perspective. Carl's answer? Perceptions. Yeah, they should have more thoroughly checked possible solutions for this one, because Carl's puzzle solution of perceptions is 100% on theme as a Survivor puzzle answer. In fact, I'd argue it is actually more relevant to the game of Survivor than perspective. My best guess is that they did not know the puzzle had more than one potentially relevant solution. They obviously had a specific word in mind, so Jeff improvised on the spot by ruling Carl's solution wrong. Not a malfunction in the traditional sense, but definitely a failure of planning and design, and one which ultimately had a major impact on the game after Davey won immunity. I mean, this was the round Carl was voted out. This isn't some Rodney or Dan thing where their guess is like incoherent or illiterate ramblings. Carl's guess was the correct amount of letters, on theme for Survivor and the season's theme itself. It just wasn't the particular word they were looking for. A similar-ish situation happened at the Final Four of Survivor Africa, wherein Lex lost a trivia question about his fellow tribe mates and their piercing habits. Which jurors got a Prince Albert? The answer might surprise you. Kinky bitch. Okay, so the question was which female survivor doesn't have anything pierced, including her ears? Lex answered Lindsay, which was true, but ruled incorrectly by production, who incorrectly believed that Kelly was the only unpierced female player. In both instances, unforeseen solutions or answers cost big players a crucial immunity win, greatly changing the trajectory of the game. And piercings and malfunction, rarely are those two topics you want to hear in the same conversation. At number 3 are a pair of challenge malfunctions we didn't see on TV, one from the merge of Survivor Millennials vs. Gen X, and the other from episode 4 of Survivor Exile Island. Let's start with the Millennials vs. Gen X merge immunity, where the players had to hold both hands on a pole above their heads. If your hand drops, colored water is dumped on you, and you're out. According to a 2021 interview with Hannah, this challenge malfunctioned right out of the gate. Quote, "They told us to start and suddenly everyone's paint fell within 5 seconds, but mine and a few others. I was like, sweet, I won." Turns out the challenge was defective. Not only did we have to start over, but everyone had to be wiped clean of their paint. They had to get clean and wait for the water to dry in the sun before going out again. Now, Hannah ended up not winning this challenge in the do-over, which may be for the best. This was probably the only bath she took all season. Another challenge malfunction we didn't see was in Survivor Exile Island's episode 4 Reward Challenge, where the players must assemble a large water puzzle so that the symbols on every side of every piece match. Both Aris and Sari have talked about this in interviews, but this challenge ran completely through and Lamina won. Afterwards, Aris complained to Jeff that it was unwinnable for Kasaya, and then actually hopped in and demonstrated to Probst that the challenge was impossible for their team. So it was run through again with the proper pieces, and this time, Kasaya won. Someone must have painted the wrong symbol on the wrong piece or something, but regardless, I'm happy Aris caught this and it was fixed, because this was the reward for the outhouse. In no other tribe but Kasaya could a toilet cause at least 3 instances of major drama, one of which was just because Bobby actually used it and Danielle was mad.
I don't think that was a wise decision to make.
How was it? Feel about 10 pounds lighter.
Only on Kasaya. At number 2 is the reward challenge in episode 3 of Survivor Australia, where part of the challenge snapped in half. This is the classic shoulder the load endurance challenge, where the players have to apply weight to a pole held on the shoulders of the other tribe's strongest member. Last one left standing wins reward for their tribe. It is absolutely cracked that this challenge is used as a reward here. Yes, risk permanent nerve damage for some fishing lures. Regardless, Colby and Scoopin step up as their tribe's weight bearers, and Survivor did not anticipate that these two guys would be able to hold as much weight as they did. The challenge runs completely through, and by the end, Colby and Scoopin are both holding more than 400 pounds of water on their shoulders, dwarfing the next highest record in this challenge, held by Jim Rice and Brandon Hance, by 160 pounds. The challenge goes until Scoopin's pole literally breaks in half, possibly due to the ridiculous amount of weight it is bearing, possibly just to get away from Mike Scoopin. This thing snapped harder than Debbie did on Culpepper. This was the first legitimate challenge malfunction in Survivor history, and when this challenge returned in Survivor Pearl Islands, the beams would be like double the thickness. With Scoopin's pole broken and no actual challenge winner declared, the challenge goes into a runoff, a timed race to put the most buckets on the other tribe's shoulders, which Ogakor wins. But the real winner of the challenge is, again, the beam, which was able to get away from Mike Scoopin's perverted grasp. Bro tried to warn us. At number 1 is the broken rope during episode 13 of Australian Survivor Champions vs. Contenders 2. I normally don't talk about Australian Survivor on this channel just because I don't have the same breadth of knowledge I do about US Survivor, but there is no way to talk about malfunctioning Survivor challenges without talking about the broken rope that broke Ross's ankle. Part of this immunity challenge involves swinging across a gap on a rope swing, a common go-to for every version of Survivor in races and relays, but this one goes horribly awry. All is going well until Ross, a 53-year-old big wave surfer, is crossing. The rope breaks, he falls, and his ankle is broken in a horrific injury which leaves him screaming in agony. It's so hard to watch. Medical is called in, and Ross is obviously evacuated from the game. It's always upsetting when someone leaves in a medical evacuation, unless it's him. It's even worse when it's the Australian version of Keith Nail, a lovable but strategically inept goofball and major bright spot on the season, who seemed poised to stumble forward to the end of the game on vibes alone. Quite obviously, Ross sued the show, not only for the injury itself, but because of the impact to his career as a surfer. The case was allegedly settled out of court for an undisclosed sum. Obviously, the impact to Ross's life and career is horrible, but speaking purely from a Survivor POV, it's such a bummer for Roscoe's game to end this way, due to a faulty challenge disaster. And considering the whole suing the show thing, this makes him about the only Australian Survivor player who won't end up being a returnee at one point or another. I mean, Zach, Sam Webb, fucking Moana? Got nothing else for ya. If your perception of me is that I've got good perspective on Survivor, like and subscribe and I'll get you more Survivor content just like this. Until next time, don't get idled out.